Campgrounds can be full of trees, which can be great for shade and a little bit of privacy, but not so great for your RV. Because if you just get a little bit too close and friendly with one of those trees and grab you a branch, you can grab your roof membrane just as easy. And as you can see, you can do quite a bit of damage just from a little stick. Problem is, this little damage can cause a lot of damage on the sidewalls or the roof of your RV when water gets in there. As we all know, water and RVs are not good friends. Luckily for you, that damage is usually pretty easy to fix, especially when it's minor like these ones. And although I consider most patches to be temporary, I don't like to leave them long term. As long as you're checking on them from time to time while you're checking on the roof of your RV, they should be just fine. They may need some touch up from time to time, but either way, today I'm going to show you how you can patch these rips in your roof or small holes in your roof from grabbing branches or grabbing the edge of a garage or something like that and damaging the roof membrane. Now today we'll be looking at one of the more complicated types of damages, which is right here on the corner of the roof. If it's up here on the main body of the roof, it's actually a little bit easier, same process. But over here, because of how close we are to the edge of the gutter, we're actually going to be pulling some of the gutter away so we can get the patch behind it and make sure that the patch isn't just barely covering that hole. Now the absolute very first thing that you're going to be doing is cleaning this area. You want the patch to adhere properly, you want the sealant to adhere properly, so cleaning this area is going to be the most important. So we're going to do that first. Don't want to use too much water. Again, you don't want to trap water underneath here, so a little bit of elbow grease. All right, so this area is clean. Keep in mind too that just because the patch is here, you don't want to clean just this area. Your patch is going to extend beyond that area, so you want to clean a few inches past on each side of wherever it is you're going to be placing the patch. Now that it's clean in this area, again, the next step is going to be pulling this gutter away a little bit. Because we are so close, my patch would just barely go over that. So I want to make sure I get it tucked underneath the gutter nice and tight and reseal all that up when that's done. So in order to get this out, this insert trim is usually pretty easy. Most of the time you don't even need a tool to get it out, but we'll have to pull out some screws all the way to here, and then going this way, we'll have to get a few going this way so that we can get that gutter out just enough to tuck that patch behind there. So we'll pull these screws out. All right. Next part is you do have sealant along the top of your gutter here. You're going to need to score or cut that. I do not recommend using a razor blade, although you're going to see me using a razor blade. I do this stuff on a daily basis. I kind of know my limits, the amount of pressure I have to use. If you go too hard with it, you're going to cut through the roof membrane, and then it will not tuck back underneath the gutter. So using a plastic scraper or something like that is going to be a lot easier for you if this is not something that you do on the regular. So once we got the sealant scored and cut, you may find that this is pretty difficult to remove sometimes if the butyl tape is behind the gutter like it's supposed to be. In this situation, it's not, because I guess the manufacturer decided they didn't want to put butyl behind this gutter. They put it behind the membrane instead. I'm not a big fan of that, but I don't build them. So we've got this loose. Now we can start the process of cutting and installing our patch over here and then sealing the edges. Now for the patch material, we're just using good old Eternabond. I know you guys have heard me say a fair amount of negative about this, but that is because people use it incorrectly. What I'm using it for is essentially the only thing you should use Eternabond for. Now you can see I've cut it definitely longer than what my damage is, so I have plenty of coverage. And then here's something that I actually learned from one of my followers, or several of them, is that if you round your corners, you have a lot less chance of the corner peeling up. So I've started to do that myself. Now I'll only be rounding the top corners because this portion is actually going to be underneath the gutter. So I'm going to round these real quick, and if you are an RV tech, I definitely recommend getting yourself a little cutting board for work, because I use this thing all the time. I got it out of a trade-in, and I use it for cutting different tapes and patches and all kinds of different things. It comes in handy. All right, so we're back up top here on the roof, and again, this is how our patch is going to be placed. So I do kind of want to tuck some of this away. I don't want to cut any material away, but I also don't want like a big lump underneath the patch. I would like it to be kind of smooth, which I'll explain that more here in a second as we're laying this patch down. So when you're installing a patch, one of your biggest goals is to not have any wrinkles in the patch, because you'll create what you call a fish mouth. And that is essentially a little channel. That wrinkle, if it makes it all the way to the edge, creates a small channel for water to intrude underneath the patch. So take your time, don't try and rush this part or slap it down, and then really spend some time making sure that that patch makes good contact with all parts of the roof. You don't want any edges pulling up, you don't want any wrinkles in it, and if you do mess up, you have a bunch of wrinkles in it and you just can't seem to smooth it out, peel it off, cut another one, and do it right. You don't want water getting underneath this patch. That is even worse than a hole, because not only is water going to get underneath there, it's going to stay trapped underneath there, and it's not really going to evaporate out. So again, we're just going to smooth that all up, make sure that's really pressed in there good. And then before we get to sealing the outside of it, I'm actually going to replace all these screws that we took out to get the gutter out and press all that in. Getting the insert trim back in is a breeze. I know sometimes I can make it look really easy. I do it all the time, but it is really easy once you find the rhythm of it. If it's your first time, you might find yourself playing with this stuff quite a bit, trying to snap it back in place, but that's back in place, patch is in. Now let's seal it up. Now, off camera, I kind of wipe this area back down again. You might not get some of these black marks out of the Eternabond, especially if your hands look like mine. Again, my goal on a roof, as I always say, I don't care how pretty it is, I want it to be functional. So on the top up here, where it's a nice horizontal surface, I'm going to be using self-leveling lap sealant around the border of that. And then we'll switch over to non-sag for these areas and the gutter, because the non-sag lap sealant isn't going to drip down the side of the coach. Take note that the tip of my nozzle here is kind of pressing against the roof. I really want to make sure that the sealant is making contact. Just doing a little swirly motion here, kind of widening my bead a little bit, if you will, and trying to work my way around the edge there. Don't want to get too close to the edge, because again, this is self-leveling. You don't want it pouring over the edge of the roof. Now switched over to the non-sag here. We're going to do that exact same thing we were just doing, kind of try and really press it in there and smooth it out a little bit. Self-leveling definitely smooths itself out. Non-sag does self-level just a little bit, so it's going to kind of smooth itself out. And again, the goal here is not to make it pretty, it's to make it functional. So we've done that on both edges of the patch. This little trick I got here when you're trying to leave with the gun, so you're not pulling strings, kind of give it a little swirl. And then you want to get into the gutter, get yourself a decent bead in there. And then this part, you usually want to wait a few minutes for. If you use a little bit of a soapy solution, get that on your finger. You can gently come over and try and tool some of that. You always want to tool your sealant when going into crevices, so you can really make sure that it's buried in there properly. and you get good adhesion. Up here, that's not super important. In the gutter, it definitely is. And I'll show you one more thing you can do with that trick, and that is with your non-sag sealant. Again, where it's ugly, and the only reason I'm showing you this is because so many people seem to be worried about how good the sealant looks, is you can actually kind of pat that surface down as long as your finger is damp and make it look a little better. Though again, I don't really have a preference or a reason to do this. I'm doing it because I know it's important to you guys. Now, in case you don't know, I'll give you a visual representation of the difference between self-leveling and non-sag. As you can see, the non-sag, even after me smoothing it, hasn't done a whole lot to smooth itself out, whereas the self-leveling is starting to smooth itself out. And I just did that a few minutes ago, so it hasn't even had its time yet. Now again, this patch isn't the prettiest thing in the world, but it's going to stop water from coming in. This is something that you should have in your RV at all times in case something like this ever happens. You can get it taken care of before the next rain. You wouldn't believe how little water is needed to actually damage a sidewall of an RV. And again, it's not going to be the prettiest thing, especially like in the gutter where you had to retouch up the sealant, and now we have old faded sealant versus brand new white sealant. But guess what? We also don't have delaminated walls or any kind of rotting going on in the roof anymore. I also just want to reiterate that I definitely consider all patches on the roof to be somewhat temporary, but as long as you can maintain them, check on them from time to time and make sure those sealants don't need touch up or that the patch itself isn't peeling, then you should be just fine. Eventually the roof membrane would need to be replaced, but I'm a firm believer that just because you have a little hole doesn't mean you just spend thousands of dollars replacing your roof membrane. If you guys are interested in seeing more tips, tricks, and even some tours and RVs like this one, make sure you guys are pressing that subscribe button.